Alright, in the last video we wrote an equation given rational solutions, but what happens if we have irrational solutions? It's still the same idea. If we're saying that the roots or solutions are 2 plus the square root of 10 and 2 minus the square root of 10 and 2 plus the square root of 10, we're going to start by just saying, well, those are the solutions. That means x equals 2 minus the square root of 10 or x equals 2 plus the square root of 10. And if I want to work backwards, I'm going to kind of unsolve it for x, meaning I'm going to get everything on one side and set it equal to 0. I would have to subtract the 2 and add the square root of 10. And I'd do that to both sides. So on the left-hand side now I have x minus 2 plus the square root of 10 equals 0. Same thing over here, we would subtract 2 and subtract the square root of 10 to get it on the left-hand side. And that gives me x minus 2 minus the square root of 10 equals 0. That means that each one of those would be our factor in our quadratic equation. So I set each one of those times the other equal to 0. So these are the factors. And again, if I was solving, I would set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. Now, I don't want to leave it in this form. I want it in ax squared plus bx plus c. That means I have to multiply all this out. So there's one of two ways you could do it. Well, three ways really. You could just distribute everything, but you've got 3 terms by 3 terms here. So I'm going to use the box method, making a 3 by 3 box. So I'm going to make it kind of big. Remember, terms can be separated by pluses and minuses. So x minus 2 plus the square root of 10 and x minus 2 minus the square root of 10. And this is going to ensure that I'm really multiplying everything in the first parenthesis by everything in the second parenthesis. So 3 by 3. Then I start multiplying. X times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. And x times the negative square root of 10 would be negative square root of 10x. Second row, negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times a negative 2 is positive 4. And then negative 2 times a negative square root of 10 would be positive 2 square root 10, right? The 2 is not under a radical. The 10 is. The 2 has to stay out. We're just multiplying them together. Last row, x times the square root of 10 is the square root of 10x. Negative 2 times the square root of 10 is negative 2 square root of 10. And negative square root of 10 times a positive square root of 10, they're both under the radical, so we multiply them together, negative square root of 100. Now I'm just going to stop and assess this real quick before I write it all out. I notice I have a negative square root of 10x and a positive square root of 10x. Those are like terms. They both have square root of 10, square root of 10, x, and x. They're like. And one's positive, one's negative. They will add up to 0. Same with 2 square root of 10 and negative 2 square root of 10. Those are also 0. I'm going to get rid of those. Now I'm going to look at everything I have left. I have an x squared. These are like terms. Negative 2x and a negative 2x would be negative 4x. Then I have a positive 4 and a negative. The square root of 100 is a perfect square. So I'll have square root of 100 is 10. So I'll have a negative 10. and that equals 0 still, right? Because we were multiplying this out, and it was equal to 0, so when I multiply it out, it's still equal to 0. Lastly, I want to combine my like terms. Positive 4 minus 10 is negative 6. If I were to try to solve this quadratic equation, I need to get the solutions to minus the square root of 10 and 2 plus the square root of 10. And there you have it.